From the moment we wake up to the second we go to sleep, we are so occupied. So much to see, so much to do. So many different things seeking our attention all the time. Even after being on my laptop all day, sometimes I wonder if I could do any meaningful work. For I know that most of my day gets wasted by a million distractions that surround us at all times today. We are so stimulated, in fact overstimulated by our devices, that we no longer have a sense of control over our time or activities. If you can relate to this, I want to share some things I'm trying to reduce the constant distraction and regain a sense of balance that hopefully might help you as well. If we had limited time or limited data on our phones, would we still use it so mindlessly? Scroll endlessly and watch meaningless content? Setting a limit on certain apps or the entire phone usage has helped me set healthy boundaries and avoid distractions. Most phones today have provisions for limiting screen time or specific app usage. For iPhones, you can also set up downtime. This helps block all specific apps during the set period. I schedule it for specific hours either during work or bedtime. Some phones also have features like Zen mode, where your smartphone basically becomes a dumb phone, with no app access or Wi-Fi, only allowing regular calls and texts. Then there are some apps like Opal that block all your distractive apps and helps to keep them at bay with witty and mindful reminders. You may even have to solve a tough puzzle to override a restriction during a focus mode. And those are some ways that are helping me limit my phone usage. Once I block my phone apps, my mind starts to find ways to fill that gap. The moment I feel bored and my phone isn't accessible, I would resort to my laptop to give in to my distractions, looking for random, not so important inspirations on Pinterest, or scrolling YouTube in the name of learning something new. To escape this temptation, I often use a Pomodoro timer. This helps me set deadlines for each task and keeps me accountable. For those using MacBooks, you can also set a focus mode that parallelly works on the phone, laptop, and other connected devices. I would add the restrictions and set up a daily schedule so that it silences all notifications by default during that time and lets me work with a deeper focus. How many times have you reached out to your phone for something important, but instead got distracted and started scrolling. For example, you wanted to note down something on your notes app, but a notification pulled you on Instagram. Or you reached out to your phone to start an audiobook, but something more appealing caught your attention. To avoid these traps, I prefer physical things over my devices wherever possible, like using a notepad instead of the Notes app for my to-dos and reminders, reading a physical book instead of an audiobook. Replacing some of my digital usage with physical things has definitely helped me reduce my distractions. My goal with all these practices is to manage my distractions, not to escape them. Because it would not be practical or sustainable in the stimulated world we live in. So once I'm done with my focus blocks, I consciously take out time for leisure, whether it's on my gadgets or stepping outside. Whenever I fill in all my available hours with work, it looks great on my calendar or my to-do list. But I often end up feeling exhausted and rarely get all the work done. And that's pretty demotivating. So, while avoiding distractions is crucial, balancing things out is also important. Balancing work with relaxation is healthy. But relaxation doesn't always have to come from our screens. A lot of us often want to get into a new hobby or resume an old one. But because we stay glued to our gadgets for hours, it doesn't leave us with enough time or energy to pursue anything else. In fact, spending some time on hobbies like an instrument or learning art can be way more fulfilling than scrolling Instagram. Spending some time reading can give a much needed break to our eyes and calm us down. Similarly, playing a sport can be such a stress buster and take our minds off our daily problems. The urge to pick up our phones every now and then is so high, but I have often felt that it almost never leaves me content or happy. So, is it really worth distracting ourselves for a short-lived dopamine hit? Those were a few ways I've been exploring to reduce distractions and live more mindfully. I hope you found at least one helpful point from this video that you can implement in your routine to avoid excess stimulation and spend that time on a meaningful work or a hobby you have wanted to take up for long. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to help me make more such videos. And until next time, take care and I'll see you soon.